and the memory of my grandmother gave me strength. I started my journey to earn money by doing the simplest jobs. At first, I knocked on doors in the neighborhood, asking if they needed someone to mow their lawns or clean up after them. Many people looked at me with suspicion, probably because of my small and immature appearance. But there were also people who smiled and agreed. Every morning, I wake up but for the sun to deliver newspapers. The deserted streets with dim yellow street lights gradually become my companion. Sometimes, I feel so tired that I want to give up. But every time I think of the poetry book, the image of my grandmother appears, giving me more motivation. It was during those days that I met Peter. Peter was the son of a family who lived near the grocery store, where I often stopped to buy breakfast. The first time I met him, I was struggling to fix the chain on my old bicycle. Peter appeared, holding an ice cream and a mischievous smile on his face.
Aha!
Car broken down. Let me help.
He said, but without waiting for my consent, he started fiddling with the bike. As a result, the chain got even more tangled. I was both annoyed and amused. We sat down on the steps afterwards and talked, discovering for the first time that we both had a special passion for literature. Wow. Though Peter preferred comics to poetry. Peter has a strange personality. He always carries a small deck of magic cards with him and often tries to perform magic tricks that he is proud of. Wow! But in reality, Peter's performances often end in miserable failures. However, I cannot deny that his humor and sincerity make me feel comfortable. Over time, Peter became my closest friend, always appearing whenever I need a companion. One day, while I was sitting in the park, flipping through my notebook to write some random verses, Eric appeared. He was a guy that everyone would notice. Tall, charming smile, and sharp eyes.
Hello.
Eric struck up a conversation with me, asking what I was doing. When I told him I wrote poetry, he seemed very interested. Wow.
I love poetry too.
Eric said, his voice deep and warm.
My mother is in a coma in the hospital. I often read poetry to her, hoping she can feel it.
Eric's words touched me. His depth and sensitivity made me feel like he was a character from my own poems. From then on, we became close. Eric often sent me poems he wrote, and I shared my own with him. Each time we talked, I felt more and more understood and empathetic towards him. Peter doesn't like Eric.
I don't trust him.
Peter told me.
Something is wrong.
I just laughed and assumed Peter was jealous. I didn't want to doubt Eric, because he was always the one who listened to me sincerely. At least, I thought so. One late afternoon, as I was trying to finish some unfinished poems in my notebook, Peter suddenly appeared at my door. His face no longer had the usual humor, but was instead serious as ever. He held out a stack of papers, his voice trembling slightly, but clear.
Jenna, I've been looking into Eric. And you need to see this.
I looked at him, slightly annoyed. Peter, I told you, Eric is a good guy. You don't have to do that. Peter didn't say anything more, just placed the stack of papers in my hands. His mouth was pressed together as if he was holding something back. Each sheet of paper felt heavy in my hands as I flipped through it. There were notes, photos, and online posts that proved that Eric did not have a mother in a coma, as he had said. In fact, his mother was alive and well in another city. The poems he sent me, which I had thought he had written himself, turned out to be copies from famous poets. Why are you doing this? I asked, my voice choked.
Because I don't want you to get hurt.
Peter replied, his eyes filled with worry.
You're my best friend, Jenna. I can't stand by and watch you get cheated on.
Peter's words choked me. I felt angry, not at Peter, but at myself. Why did I trust Eric so easily when I doubted the person who was always by my side? Disappointment surged up, like a wave that swept away all my emotions. A few days later, I received a challenge from Eric to participate in a rap battle at the school's cultural event. He said with a sinister smile,
If you think I'm lying, prove it to the whole school.
I almost wanted to refuse. I was not good at public speaking, let alone participating in a match of such a confrontational nature. But Peter, who was always by my side, encouraged me.
Jenna, this isn't just about Eric. This is your chance to prove that the truth and true feelings are always stronger than lies.
During the days of preparation, Peter and I practiced together. He wrote rap lyrics, and I turned them into sharp, emotional verses. The match took place in a packed arena, the stage lights shining directly on us. My heart was pounding, but Peter stood next to me, his eyes full of confidence, as if to give me strength. When it was my turn, I stepped forward, took a deep breath, and said, "You talk about pain, but you use it as a tool. What is truth when it's all just a stupid drama? I used to trust you, a sympathetic person. But it turns out those verses were just a cover for lies." My words were not just directed at Eric, but also at how I confronted myself. My naivety, my pain, and my misplaced trust. Eric tried to respond, but his words lost their weight when everyone knew the truth. At the end of the match, Peter and I won. The whole stadium applauded, and Eric had no choice but to publicly apologize. I felt a huge burden lifted from my shoulders. After the game, Peter pulled me out of the hall and led me to the used bookstore. As I walked in, the shopkeeper smiled and handed me a wrapped package. I looked at Peter in confusion. "What did you do?" I asked, but thought. Peter just shrugged, smiling.